Hello friends, how are you doing today? So in this video I'm going to introduce a new project which is 84 of course. So in this one I'm going to introduce a new library I've built. So I call this library DocPro. So basically it's a library built for how to handle the tasks in Google Document. Okay, so this project is an example to take advantage of this library to build a project like this. So let me show you what I'm doing here in this project. So here I have the program, I have the script in this spreadsheet, and in this folder, as you can see here, I have a Google Doc template. So basically, this template can be an invoice template or some document you'd like to do some automations in your Google Doc. You can use a template like this. Okay. So here I did this template with some text placeholders here, as you can see. Very straightforward. The title is a title with a placeholder title. And for the subtitle, as you can see here, I have a heading here, have a body section here you can use. So you can name these placeholders whatever you like. It's not a big deal. Okay, and this is for the part for the text. Okay, text placeholder, and we also support the table placeholder, and you need to place this placeholder in a table. As you can see here, we have a table here. You can insert, I think. You can insert table. Okay, like this. Just need only to one cell. Okay, because this is just a placeholder, and the table will be replaced by the data. Okay, the table data later, and also you can insert images, and this is the placeholder for the image. As you can see, image 1. Image 2, and you can have more. All right, and last we have some another text placeholder footer. So basically this is a template I built for this demo. Okay, so you can use this project for if you want to do some automations in Google Doc, you can use this project. Okay, so this is a template, and then now let's see what kind of data we need to prepare for this template. Okay, so let's go back to the Google Sheet. And for the first part, which is for the text placeholders, so basically I have a tab name called text, and I have two columns in this tab. First column here I call key. This is the placeholder key, which you defined in your Google template. As you can see here, for title, we have a title key, and this is the value we are going to use to replace the text placeholders in your doc template. Okay, and subtitle, heading, body, footer. So you can add more here if you like, and if you have more placeholders for the text, you can add them in this tab. Okay. So this is placeholders for the text, and let's go to the next part, which is the image. So for image, we have some options here we can use. So basically, we have 5 columns for image placeholders. First column is the same, so it's the placeholder name or key you defined in your template, image 1, image 2. All right. So this is the key, and here for column B and C we have 2 options, basically 2 resources for your images. Okay, so if you choose column B here for the ID, so this is the image ID. So basically for the images on your Google Drive. Okay, so for each image file on your Google Drive, you have an ID. Okay, you can place the ID of the image file on your Google Drive here, And you also can use public images, okay? You only need to place the image address, okay? You can put the address of your image here. So this image we're going to replace this placeholder later, okay? And you can set up the width of the image and the height of the image, okay? If you so this is optional, okay? So you can remove them. If you remove them, they are going to set the full width of the document, okay? Of your to be the width of your image. So basically, this is the full width of the document, and your image will be the same size with the same width of this document, okay? So this is width. So if you like to set up a fixed width of your image, you can set it up here, okay? Also, you can set up the height. If you leave the height here, the image will keep the aspect ratio, okay? If you set another, maybe 40, 400, 400, and your image will going to be, I think, going to be squeezed as a square, okay? So I think there's something you don't need to do. So let's just get rid of this height here. So this is set up for image. And of course, if you have more placeholders for image, you can add more rows here. And the last part is the data for the tables. And as you can see here, I have a table placeholder 1, table 2, and I need to prepare the data. So for the table placeholders, I prepared it like this. So for each table, I put them in a separate tab. So the name is the placeholder. Okay, the name is a placeholder key. So for table 1, I have a table here, table data. So this is the table data I'm going to use to insert into where you put this table. So I'm going to use this table to replace this table, and I'm going to use this table to replace the second table, which is table 2. So I have a green tables, okay, with a green header. I have a table 2 with a red header, so you can see the results very quickly. All right, so this is the data we have prepared, and the document and the data from spreadsheet. And here we have a function to create a copy of this template and replace all the placeholders with data from this spreadsheet. So let's try to do it right now. Just need a while, I think. Okay, so if you see this message, that means the document is already created on your Google Drive. And this is the URL to the file. Let me copy this file. Not sure if I can copy all of them. I think some part of them are hidden. Okay, copy this URL and open it here. And you should be able to see this is the same file, okay? It's created under the same folder where you put your file, okay? This is the file with the source code, and this new document is created under the same folder. Okay, so if you check, something is wrong. Let me close this one. I think nothing is replaced. That's weird. Okay, so I think I need to click on that button so the script is going to be complete. And now, as you can see, the table has been updated, and this is title, subtitle, heading, and as you can see here, this is the table, and this is the table you can find, and this is the image, and I resized the photo to have a width of 400 pixel. So if you see the image, this is 400. So if you didn't put a width of the image, it's going to be something like this. So have a full width like this. Okay, and all of the stuff have been replaced. All right. So that's the project. Okay, that's the project I'd like to introduce you today. So if you think this can be useful, you can make a copy of my code and you can start to use it for your own project. Okay, I think this could be very helpful for some invoice generator or label generator or something like this. So basically, you want to create a lot of document and you can do it like this. And you also can export the files as a PDF, I think, but I didn't do it in this project. So let me show you the library I'm using in this project. So this is the main part for this video, of course. So the main purpose of this project is to introduce the library I am building for Google Doc. Okay, so I will add more functions in this library, but for now, the main purpose for this library is to handle issues like text replacement, image replacement, and table replacement in your Google Doc. So this is why I start to design the library like this to solve problems. So you can use this library, of course. So let me show you the code and you can see what I'm doing here. Basically, you want to simplify the process to build tools like this, okay? So a lot of functions we need to build a lot because if you'd like to build a project, maybe you need to create a document like this. You don't need to build all of these functions again. So that's why I decided to put the code in a library and I can use it very quickly. So basically, you have two ways to connect this library to your project. Okay, so the first one is through this library. Okay, here you have a button to add a library, and you can find the library in my GitHub repository. Okay, so here I have GitHub HTML. So my name here and gas library libs. Okay, so here you can go to the library. In the branch, you have a DocPro library here. So first, you can copy this library ID, and you can just use this in your library, and you put the ID here, and you look up for the library, and you should be able to see a latest version of this library, and you just add it to your project. So this is the first way you can do it. And the second way you can do it, you can copy the source code to your project. Okay, so basically you go to my project on GitHub, and in this dist folder, you should have the source code. You can add it to your Google Drive, not your Google Drive, to your project. Okay, you only need to make a copy of this code. So you make all of them, you copy all of them, and you go to your project and you create a file, a script file. You name it whatever you like DocPro, and you just paste the code in this folder. Okay, I think I need to get rid of this. Okay, you should go to click on this raw, I think, and this is the data you need to copy, and let's do it again. And if you did this, you don't need to have this anymore. You can remove it. Okay, you can remove it. So let's get rid of this file, and let me show you what kind of functions I have added to this library. Right, first of all, let me collapse all of them. So after I did this, added this library to my project, I can access this DocPro namespace. And as you can see here, I have a list of functions we can use. And right now, the most three important functions we can find here. So we have a function to replace image placeholders we can have a function to replace table placeholders, and the final one is replace text placeholders. So this is the main function we need to use in our project. Okay, so we only need to prepare our data and call this function. And as you can see here, for this function, we have two parameters. The first parameter is a document you need to apply this function to. Okay, basically, for this project, I will have a template, a document template where I'd like to apply this. So we'll have a doc, which will be a template, or a new doc, which is a copy of this template. And the placeholders, okay, will be object, basically, which will be key value. So basically, if we check the document here, let me show you. So let me show you how to use it. It will be very simple to use, I think. Okay, if you check this document here, and if you want to see detail about the functions, you can go to replace text placeholders. As you can see here, for the doc, it will be a document app. It would be a Google document. Okay, so this is the doc. And for these placeholders, we are going to be a project. So here, I gave you example, and I'm going to replace name with Google and the gender with male. So let's copy this. So let's do a function replace text. So let's copy this data. This will be our placeholders, right? I think this could be an object, not an array. Okay, in this object, I have as you can see, I have a name key and gender key, and this is the actual value for this key. So this is the placeholder, and I need to have a doc. Let's get the doc and document app.open by ID. This is the doc we need to use. Right now, we have no ID here. I will do it later. So let's try to replace. Since this is a text holder, so I'm going to replace text with placeholders and put doc here, and I put the placeholder here. And I'm going to create a new document so we can run some tests. So let's see this one. Let's use this one. This is the one I just created. Let's grab the ID of this file. Okay. Let's put the ID in this function. So right now this doc is a point to this new document that I created. So right now I'd like to add a placeholder, name and gender here. All right, so name, gender. So if I try to run this replace text function, I should replace. Okay, so now as you can see, the function running is done. And as you can see here, the text has been replaced. So if you are trying to use this library to complete all of this stuff, as you can see, just a very few lines of code, you can do this with this library, so you can do it very easily. And let me give you another example so you can see. Let's replace the images and let's copy this line of code because we're going to do it in the same document. And replace image with placeholders. As you can see here, here we have some. So this is a placeholder data structure. So you can make a copy of this one. And I'm going to, this is the image placeholder, right? This is the key and the data. So let's get ID, image ID from my Google Drive. So let's get the ID of the file of the image. So you just grab the ID. Okay, so this is the ID of this image, and let's place it here. So you can either use this ID or this URL. So because we already have an ID of the image here, we don't need to use this URL, okay? And the width and the height. So let's get rid of, if you don't need, this is optional, so you don't have to keep it here. And you only can have one ID. That's easy. That's enough. So this is a placeholder. So if you have two placeholders, you add it like this, and the image one like this. So you have one, you have two. All right, so let's get rid of this. And we can run this function document replace images, and place a doc here, and place the placeholders here. So doc placeholder and replace images. And we need to add this image placeholder to your document. So let's try to insert maybe an image here. Okay, between these two tables, and add a new image. So let's try to insert replace image. Okay, so this is the function. Okay, it's done. And as you can see here, I just insert a new image between these two tables, right? So just simple like this. So this is why I need to use this as a library, because to build this kind of function is going to cost you a lot of time. So you don't need to do that, always do that, and just keep on the main functions, the main work process of your project. And the last function I'd like to show you is replace the tables. So let's create a new function to replace tables. And it's just a little bit the same, so just the same process. And then you need to grab a document, and then you need to define the placeholders for the tables. So let's go back to my document and replace table placeholders, document placeholders. So let's grab these placeholders for the table. So this is the, okay. So this is the data. Let's maybe need to format the document. Okay, so this placeholder is object of a 2D arrays, because your table is a two-dimensional array. Okay, you have rows and you have columns. Okay, so it's just like this. So for this table, I have a let's rename this as a Google, and maybe Google. Let's put it in the quote. Okay, so this is the key called Google, and we need to replace this table with the data in here. Okay, and I'm going to try to run this DocPro and replace tables with placeholders. So doc and placeholders. So for this table placeholders is a two-dimensional array, and as you can see here, this is the first row in your table, okay, and this is the second row, and this is the last row. So basically, for this table, I have 3 rows and 3 columns, right? So let me show you the result first, and I explain you later. Line 176. What's wrong with that 176? 176. Okay, a typo here. Okay, another one here. All right, 77. I think I fixed all of them. No. Okay, so it's fine now. I need to define this placeholder. All right. So let's go to this template, and let's say we'd like to insert a table here between these two images, and I need to insert a table here. Only need to one cell, and place this placeholder here called Google, and we're going to insert a table, a new table here. All right. So let's try to run this code and replace tables, and run this function. Now it's done. And if I go back to the document, okay, so we saw some issues here. Actually, it's not an issue. It's because the text, the color of the text is white, and the background is white. So that's why, as you can see, it didn't see the color. There's something new. I just let me fix it very quickly. So let's see what happened. Just because okay, I think this style, as you can see, this is the font color. I set it to white, so maybe that's why. Because for the values, I didn't specify any styles for them, so that's why I have. I think that's a bug I need to fix, but we can do something here in the data here. So let me make a copy of this. So let's apply. So for the second row, I can change the value. So this is a value. I put a name here, and the email I need to change it. Test@gmail. Gender, let's put a male here. And so as you can see, so for each cell in your table, you can have a background color. You can have a link to this cell, and you can set up the style for this cell. Okay, so let's get rid of this link, because I only add the link at the first cell in this table. And set as a background, let's make it black, 00. Let's put 60 here, so to make it black. So this is a font color, and this bold, and I can remove them. So, and by the way, for this style, you can go to this this link. You can find all the options you can use, because they are defined by Google. So you can not use just some random text there. I think I already opened this website. As you can see here, this is a background color for the text, not for the cell, for the text, okay, for the font, I think. And this is bold. You can enable it with a true value and disable it with a false value. And this is, I didn't apply this border color border here. And you can choose a font family and font size. And this one is we are using for the text. We add a font color, use this property, and maybe I can use this one. All right, italic. Let's add it here. Let's make it italic to true, and let's see what happened. Okay, so let's Control Z. Okay, where is my table. Okay, let's remake this placeholder table. Insert table. I think it's Google. And let's try it again. I hope I can fix it like this. No. Okay, so another issue is a background. I think I set it, okay, I set the background color to, as you can see, background color set it to FF, that's red, set to red. So basically you can define the styles for every single cell in your table, okay? So for each cell you can define the color, background color, and the style. You can use a lot of styles for that cell, and this is the value, okay? So in this way you can completely, so this data, this placeholder data, you can define yourself. So that's the flexibility, and you can only need to call this function to do this. All the stuff are other stuff handled by this library, and you don't need to worry about it, and I will do it for you. And the only thing you need to do, you need to prepare your data, and you need to know which file, which document you should apply these placeholders to, okay? So that will save you a lot of time. Actually, save me a lot of time, because I need to do this a lot. If I do some freelance job for customers, I need to do this a lot. So that's why I start to build a library like this to save me some time, okay? Not some time, I think a lot of time if you build a lot of project for your customer, okay? So this is used to replace the text, image, or tables, okay? I think I have other stuff here, but I didn't test it. You can export the document to PDF, so actually you just only need to apply this, and I'm going to create a PDF blog for you, okay? So I didn't test it, but you can try it, not a big deal. All right, so I think I'd like to keep all of this code here, so you can test yourself, okay? You can try it at your end. So I decided to keep them here, but all the other functions for this project are here, okay, in this class, in this app class. Okay, let me show you, let me explain this to you. All right, so let me start from this onOpen function. So this onOpen function is a function to be called every time you open your document, and every time you open your document, you're going to create a menu called app name. As you can see here, is defined here. It's called DocPro. So I'm going to create a new button here to call this function, this run function, back to create a new document. I call it create, and run this function. Okay, this function run is defined here. All right, so this is onOpen. I'm going to add the menu here to add a button here to call this function. And this run function here, basically going to create a new app. All right, so this is the app class, and I'm going to create a new app application. And in this new app, I'm going to do some settings for this application, okay? First of all, we need to set up a template, a document template, okay? So here, in this example, I need to set up the document template by document ID, so which you can find in your URL of your document. So for this example, this is my template, so I grab this ID of this template and place it here in my code. So here is the ID of the document template. So this is the first setup for your application. And the next step, I need to set up a text placeholder sheet. So this is the name of that sheet, okay? So basically, in your document, you have a text tab. So if you have a different name for your text placeholders, you can do it here, you can do the change here. And for the same thing for the placeholders for the image, I put it here for the image. And for the tables, okay, you could have multiple tables. So I set up like an array. So if you have new tables like something like this, so I may have another table and then table 3. So you can name it whatever you like, but you need to put it here, set up like this. Okay, make sure these names can be found in your spreadsheet. Okay, so this is set up for the placeholders for the sheet. Okay, so so after we set up all of this stuff, so basically they prepare the data for your application to run, and we call this run function. Okay, so this is the run function, and let's go to the class. For this class, okay, maybe let's go directly to this run function. So this is the function in this app class. Okay, so in this run function, the logic is very straightforward. So basically, we grab the text placeholders from this sheet we set up. Okay, we just set it up, and then we grab the image placeholders, and then we grab the table placeholders. We have a function to do that, so I didn't want to explain here, but you can go to the details in these functions to know what I'm doing here to get the data from this spreadsheet. Okay, that's another story. So actually, I prepared the data in this class, and except because I did this demos for you, because this data basically they are entered manually, so they are not dynamic data. Okay, so here this data are dynamic. It depends what kind of data you entered in your spreadsheet. Okay, so every time the spreadsheet is updated, you can create a different document, and the text placeholders are going to be updated as well. So that's why I do it like this. So here I have table placeholders, and for now you can get rid of this line, because we can have a link property for this table placeholder, but in our spreadsheet we don't have a link, as you can see. So that's why I add a line here, and this is going to this logs I'm going to show you later, and this is the 3 steps to create a copy of your document template. Okay, so basically this is a file name. So if you prefer to have a different name, you can do the change here. And this is a copy of your template. Okay, we can make a copy of this template. Basically, this template is set up, and put it in this parent folder. So parent folder is basically where you put your files. Okay, on your Google Drive is just in the same folder as this parent folder. And then this parent folder is going to make a copy of this template to this parent folder. Okay, so this is a copy, and I'm going to open this copy by this Google Drive, not Google Drive, it's document app application to open it. Okay, so we can have this document where we can apply the placeholders. And as you can see, this is very familiar to you, I think, right now. And I use this DocPro library to replace the text placeholder and the image placeholder and the table placeholder. So after I did all of this change, and I just show the end users a message. Okay, so that's something. That's the function. That's the core function of this application. Okay, so let me show you the data. What is the kind of data we are looking for? And if I try to run this function here, I probably should get the data here, because I console log here. So as you can see, for the first part, which is text placeholder, you have a key value pair in this object. And for the image, as you can see here, have an ID, URL, width for each placeholder, image 1, image 2. And for this table, as you can see here, all of this stuff have been added in this placeholder. And this link is not from the spreadsheet, it's from here, because I added the access this table 1 object, and I added the first cell, which is 0, because this is 2-dimensional, so I access the first row and the first column, which is basically A1 in this table, and add a link to that cell so we can see the result. Okay, so this is the data. This is we grab the data from the spreadsheet, we prepare the data, and then we can use this library to do the job for us. Okay, so to simplify this, and I should get a pop-up like this, and the new file should be created. I think this is a new one, this one. Okay. All right. So table 1, table 2, and all the images. And as you can see here, the link is added to table 1, right, in cell A1, the first cell. What a kind of, okay, this is a link to my YouTube channel, I think. Okay, I think that's it for the whole project, and that's it for the new library I've built for Google Document. And of course, I'm going to build more functions to this library. As you can see here, I also working on a library for Google Sheet as well, because I think this could be a much more larger library I'm working. And I'm going to introduce you later. And if you are, if you have ideas about building this library, maybe you have another functionality you'd like to have in this library, you can do some contribution, I think. All right, you can fork my code, and you can do some edit and make a pull request to my library, and I will review it. So if you'd like to do some contribution to this library, and you only to in this source folder, I only have one single file, which is document pro. Okay, so you can add your functions here. All right, if you have new functions, and if you found some issues to use this library, you also can raise an issue here in this GitHub repository. Okay, I will check it and fix it. So I think that's almost it for this video, and I hope you can learn something from this video. And if you have some task need to be done like this, and if your business or for your company need to use some kind of tool like this, and you can use it, of course. And if you don't know how to use it, and if you don't know how to build it yourself, you can send me an email. All right, I can see what kind of if I can do that for you. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and hope I'll see you next time in next video. Bye bye.